We are part of the realm of that which is true. What is true is eternal. It never changes, ceases, begins, or ends. Truth is not infinite because it extends beyond infinity, beyond imagination. Truth is eternal and incognizable. That is why the Hyperborean Wisdom makes a distinction between two realms, the incognizable and the material universe of the one demiurge. In the incognizable exist eternal beings. We could think of these beings as gods in the sense that they exist outside of material expression. They are neither mortal nor immortal, but again, eternal, and furthermore, uncreated. For the sole purpose of relating this concept to the current age we are in, I will reference the satanic biblical narrative of the creator God Jehovah having never been created himself. This is true. Jehovah Satan is an eternal being, but contrary to the selfish narrative propagated by the Hebrew Bible, he is not the only God, and the Hyperborean Wisdom does not hesitate to denounce him as inferior, a traitor to the pure gods of eternal truth. His creation that we observe with varying levels of spiritual awareness is neither eternal nor true, and projects a crude imitation of the true incognizable realm. A creation, in contrast to the uncreated, is nothing more than an abomination, and from the point of view of the incognizable God, a blasphemy. Presenting this fraudulent creation as truth is a great deception and signifies a harsh betrayal to the eternal gods of truth. That is why the Hyperborean Wisdom distinguishes two groups of eternal beings: the loyal gods, or siddhas, and traitors, because both originate from the eternal homeland, or the incognizable, the origin. The Hyperborean Wisdom describes them as having a shared ancestry or bloodline. Those which remain loyal to the eternal truth subsequently retain the essence of their eternal godhood, i.e., pure blood. The traitors, who contrarily perpetuate the great deception of the one demiurge, commit a treason against the homeland. This should clarify why the Hyperborean Wisdom frames a message with war terminology. The forgery of the material universe of the One is a declaration of war against the true homeland. And as native spirits loyal to the homeland, we traverse the material plane as foreigners in enemy territory. And as captive spirits, we observe human existence from varying degrees of illusion. Those who are deepest submerged in the illusion have integrated themselves into matter. They have crossed the border into enemy territory and intermingled with its created natives. They merge with the culture. They worship the Creator. They have diluted the purity of their eternal bloodline by mixing it with material. They could be described as NPCs of a created program. They have forgotten the homeland or origin, and only an act of sheer will can awaken the spirit and purify their blood. When the truth is remembered, the spirit is purified and recovers its original state of eternal godhood. The trappings of the created world no longer enchain it to material incarnation. No depth of fear, No amount of money, no temptation of the flesh, and no extent of comfort can drain the will to return to the origin, the plane of absolute being beyond form, its entity beyond cognition. This highlights another important distinction in the Hyperborean wisdom. Spirits aware of the deception that choose to perpetuate it in spite of truth. They are the most treacherous of all. They have a gluttony for power and veneration for the appetites of the demiurge. They work together to traject spiritual orientation by manipulating culture. They could be described as the Illuminati by conspiracy theorists, a cult of satanic practitioners occupying strategic seats of power in the world. In the Hyperborean wisdom, these cowards are also known as the Synarchy. It is important to maintain awareness from the point of view of an eternal God of truth. The material plane and all temporal created reality is inferior to the supremacy of the eternal incognizable. There is no loss of material ground which would constitute a loss for the spirit, and this awareness allows the awakened warrior man to face certain death and destruction with a smile. I watched a YouTube video recently that presented a heavy Gnostic interpretation of Christianity. And then the comments section received a lot of criticism for a lack of source. Source? Trust me, bro. That was the meme they used. Cultural manipulation. This criticism demonstrates the strategic value of logic to reinforce culture. Fear, which dilutes purity, motivates the animal man to seek shelter under material structure, orients it away from the incognizable, and attaches it to the cognizable, reinforces the bars of the prison. That is why gnosis and logic do not exist in tandem, but in complete opposition. The truth exists not as form, but outside of it, eternally. Knowing is not seeing. It is not feeling. Knowing is remembering. It is true because it does not make logical sense, not regardless. What is my source? My source is because it isn't. Try to wrap your head around that one. You can't, and that's the point.